Hi Geminis, and welcome to your December 2021 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky, coming on to talk to you about your awesome month ahead. I'm feeling a large sigh of relief coming up in your energy, Gemini, so let's sit back and have a nice and relieving reading for you. I'm just finding your image file here. There we go. So yes, for those of you who are new, I do intuitive messages, and then I do a week-to-week tarot forecast followed by an extended reading on Patreon. And let's talk about some of these intuitive messages. So any type of previous deprivation that you've been experiencing in your life is going to get really clear, probably at the end of November, but yes, even by December 1st, very beginning, you're going to be feeling where you pushed too hard or where you had an unrealistic expectation. We are having a total solar eclipse on December 4th, which I made a video about. I'll link it below and in the top right-hand corner of this video. And that has meant, of course, that December of 2021 is an eclipse month, and it's on your axis. So there's a big physical change coming in here, and it's possible that even by the end of November, you could have had some type of catalyst event happen, like something like major sleep deprivation or something where you had to prove your commitment to something by maybe feeling as if you had to sacrifice or you had to push through and overcome some type of psychological battle. So right off the bat, it's pretty high stakes stuff coming up for you this month, isn't it? So I feel that these are blessings in disguise. So any difficult experience you're going through right now is not for the sake of difficulty. It's not just to be like a sign that you're not in the right place or something. It's nothing like that. In fact, it's almost like as you go through what can feel like a difficult experience, like sleep deprivation or having to step up to some type of commitment, and it's not super easy. It's like right after that, it's almost like your body recoordinates or recalibrates due to that odd situation, and you're living in suddenly a very much easier paradigm. I'm feeling a sense of completion here, okay? You've got the Ten of Wands coming up. You've got the Emperor. You've got the Hierophant. There's a new spiritual context to work or to commitments. As a lot of you know, Ten of Wands was, to me, a collective 2021 archetype. So we need to think a lot in December about if we want to have this again in 2022. Do we want to work this hard again? Do we want to feel like we have this much on our plate again? Do we want these experiences again? We've got a lot of choices to make here. I'll be doing the 2022 year ahead comprehensive forecasts with all the signs on December 17th, in fact, at 6 p.m. PST on this channel. But for you, Gemini, you know, as you're in this last part of the calendar year of 2021, I feel that you have to approach your new lifestyles, okay? There's a induction, okay, of a new lifestyle or of a new healing process, and we have to really get on it, I think. I think that by the end of December, you know, with the star coming up, having the star and the Hierophant in one reading is very, very healing. It's very, it's like the breakthrough, okay? There's a breakthrough of what I thought was previously hard for me and an understanding of how to move forward with or without some of these constructs, and how my vulnerability or how my work ethic and vulnerability come together, as we're going to be seeing that in 2022 as well. It's hard to think about right now, but I think we're going to have to take a more vulnerable approach with how we're outputting energy, basically. Another thing that I'm feeling for you in December is that your communication needs to get a little bit more refined. Okay, so watch out for open-ended conversations or long messages sent to people, long emails, over-wordy ideas or communication styles are going to be difficult, okay? And we're all needing to understand how we can more efficiently communicate, okay? So what might efficient communication look like to you moving forward? I'm thinking that also your feeling of rest or your feeling of recovery when you're communicating or when you're presenting something is going to be important too. So there might be a little last push of like, okay, I've got to get all of this done. I've got to do a lot of random activities, or I've got to fulfill previous commitments. But as they get fulfilled, and I'm thinking by around the 3rd to 4th week of December, you're going to step into a level of fulfillment or into a level of empty space with which to rest, recover. I'm also seeing 4 of Swords this month collectively. And believe it or not, in a weird way, 4 of Swords, I think, is going to be a collective energy for 2022, meaning that rejuvenation, recovery, and reflection is going to be a bigger part of it than it was in 2021, but it's going to have to be done in an active, less passive way. So basically, December is not going to be anything too difficult for you, but it is going to be very changing in the sense that you're going to probably feel very differently about how you've been working. And you might have had a previous concept that the harder I work, the better my life goes, or the more I elevate. This is going to be something that really fractures in December. And I think that every single person of every sign is going to really see that certainly hard work has its place, but it is not always correlated realistically with any type of elevation or any type of progress. So there's also a danger of like stress related problems. So pushing too hard, like stress fractures, or even just generalized anxiety because of having too much on one's plate. So I think it's something that we have to handle by the end of this month. I'm feeling that even a bit after this eclipse, it might still be lingering. But I mean, really, a solar eclipse, right, is a good time to know, or a good time to kind of strike the gavel, as you have the Emperor and the Hierophant as well during that time, to really strike the gavel with what you want to change in your life and know that it's coming, or just go ahead and do it. So that's a good place to start the week to week. In the first week of December, you have a gavel to strike, basically. The Emperor rooted down by 4 of Pentacles. There's maybe a different budget to institute. There's a different set of codes to enforce and maybe regulate upon yourself, as it seems that we have to maybe do that ourselves, especially for those of you like very limitless, potentially like self-employed or entrepreneurial people who, or even people being overworked in a more traditional setting. You've got to maybe stand up for your own rights at this period of time when it comes to how much you're outputting. And this is maybe actually easier if you're employed by someone, because there are certainly legalities around that, but of course that depends on where you're at in the world as well. But if you're like, because I'm feeling so many Gemini people are like self-employed or working for themselves, or maybe have like side hustles or something, that's coming up in the first week to maybe be redone a little bit, or to be instituted in a more effective, efficient way. And also in a way that's not like overdoing your own limits or causing injury to yourself. So that might mean a change in budget. That might mean a cutting back. Usually 4 of Pentacles deals with getting a little bit more frugal. And it's not saying that you need to cut back if that's something that feels restrictive, or if that feels evocative of poverty, but you'd be surprised at where cutting back could happen even outside of a financial context. So, even thinking of mindsets, or thinking of favors that you do for other people, or thinking of, how other people expect you to come to their aid. Some of that might have to be cut back a little bit on now so that you can get your own life together. 4 of Pentacles is actually, in a way, a minor arcana version of the Emperor. It's very similar. One way or another, there's some kind of throne you're sitting on. You are in charge of this. So that's, again, why I'm thinking like self-employment, as it feels like nobody else is really holding charge over this crisis that you have, maybe of overworking or labor or limitlessness. There needs to be some new limits imposed here in the first week, okay? And maybe take some time to meditate and work on the throat chakra so that you can communicate with your higher self about what limitations you might have actually been surpassing. And also, like if you were employing someone else and making them work the way that you do in your own self-employed capacity, would that be something that might even be like questionable, like from a level of legality? Like are you pushing yourself so hard in your own like expectation of yourself that like if you did it to someone else, it would be very it could threaten your own reputation or something. So think about that. Think about that. Week number 2, you have Queen of Pentacles reversed, rooted down by the Hierophant. Yes, this is in that vein again. Something with the material expectation. This could just be like way too high of expenses. I mean, we've got inflation and everything. So that could be creating a difficulty. But basically, there's a new spiritual contact point with material, or a new spiritual contact point with, the physical aspects of your life. I feel like maybe diet could be out of order, or even the types of foods being eaten might be something to look at. To me, Queen of Pentacles deals so much with food, and it deals so much with what we're putting into our bodies. So that's definitely something to look at there too. Maybe praying over the food could be a good thing to start doing. Okay. Week number 3, you've got the 10 of Wands, rooted down by Page of Swords. The communication is feeling very heavy. It's feeling very much like we're having to work way too hard. How do I address this person? What words do I say to come off right? How do I give the right impression in a job interview? You've got to cut it down. It's got to be less word salad. It's got to be less trivial and more substantive. So, interestingly, this might be an interesting new spin on 10 of Wands. I'm starting to see that as maybe a lack of substance. Because we're lacking substance somewhere, we compensate by doing a million other things to, feel the effect as if we're being productive. Compensation via productivity, when just short, quick communication could be the solution anyway. Think about that in the 3rd week. 4th week, I actually really love this. The Star, rooted down by the 2 of Swords reversed. A reintroduction of vulnerability, real rest, real rejuvenation, real coming back to who you are. Shedding some of this 10 of Wands stuff. Look at how heavily clothed all of these other figures are, except for the Star. It's like you're so covered or so bogged down by something, and the 4th week asks you to take that off, at least temporarily, and understand what you have underneath, some of these hyperbolic garments. Like, underneath this business is this, underneath my current goal or my current program is this. We've got to get underneath some of these things and understand what's really there. And in order to do that, we've got to take down our boundaries to ourselves a little bit. 2 of Swords reversed. The boundaries are out. Queen of Pentacles reversed. 2 of Swords reversed. 10 of Wands. These are very similar evocations of, I'm just like feeling a little bit off. Okay? And I hope that doesn't resonate. Like, everybody's probably there a little bit. But if you are feeling a little bit off, it's just going to be about paring stuff down, simplifying stuff, putting stuff into containers, maybe even hiring people who know how to do that. So like people who are expert organizers, people who have helped others in simplifying their life. That could be very advantageous as well. Overall, Gemini, we are on your axis as it's Sagittarius season. We had an eclipse there. There's a big physical change happening. Try to just understand your own physicality and what, feels authentic versus what you're actually doing versus, how this all impacts your material reality is going to be important. And let's talk more about that in your extended reading. Let's talk about feeling like you actually have the authority over your life, even if you're sitting on the throne of life. Like, let's, because I'm feeling a bit of hesitation to actually strike any of these gavels, as we're saying. So let's look into what's going on there, and we'll look at some central themes and some supporting themes and see what else is coming up for you. I do weekly tea chats on Saturdays on Patreon, and you get these readings early and ad-free over there. So if you'd like to support this channel and get more content, you can find it in the link below and click the center of your screen to do so. So let's do that now. Much love, Geminis. Happy December. Bye.